Hey, welcome to the Segway.
The best thing that happened to you on a Thursday.
That's right, recording live, social distantly.
Yes, from North Canton and near Cleveland.
Near Cleveland, little suburb.
And our guest from Kent, the Kent area.
That's right, we're making a good little... We're kind of spacing this episode out. It's nice. We got the southern part, the northern part, and then the part that's not quite as good as Akron.
Yeah, we're making like a triangle. Like a Bermuda Triangle.
Yep, just crazy stuff in between. So today's, we'll refer to what today's episode is. As you can tell, as this episode drops, it's not a paraformal, it's not a first week food, because it's still April. We're still in April. It's almost over. It's pretty much over. But it is the 5th week of April, which is the perfect 5th. And break that down for us, Charlie.
So, okay. Sometimes months have a 5-part to it. It's like you're going through the month, you're like, oh man, the 4th week of the month is here, and you get to move on to the next. But this one's still fucking here. It's still dragging its claws into us.
Those damn Mayans.
Yeah, that's right.
So what we decided to do is make the 5th week the perfect 5th. So either we're going to talk about music, review music, or we are going to interview local musicians. And that is what we were lucky enough to do this time, because with the Google Hangouts, the social distancing, Charlie and I have already been doing it kind of apart. So to wrangle in a guest, I had to drop off.
It was hard.
I had to drop off a mic at his place and underneath his little cow, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you do whatever you gotta do,
Yeah. So, but we made it work. So our guest this week is Skeleton Drive.
Yeah, and you got to play a show with him in Halloween, right?
Yes, it was a house show in Lakewood area where you had to show up, and I didn't realize this at the time when I pretty much said Northrow would do it, and the guy was like, oh, so you're cool with doing an entire set list covering as one band, and I was like, oh, shit. So he was the Mountain Goats. That was his Halloween con.
Yeah.
And I was Dave Matthews.
I didn't get this mentioned during the interview. Stephanie heard that for the first time, the Mountain Goats, and she fell in love with that band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She fell in love with that song anyway. And
so you didn't think that would be a good thing to tell Dillon? You don't think that'd warm his heart up a little bit?
He'll hear the intro. It's fine.
I know this is incentive for him to listen to the intro. We'll ask him in like a month. Like, so did anything catch you off guard? And he'll be like, no. And then we'll know he didn't listen to the freaking episode.
Yeah, right. It's okay. I'm sure he will. It's fine.
Yes. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy our interview with Skeleton Drive. I've been one step from the start, then 2 steps to the back. I chalk up -1. So chalk up -1. All right, sup guys? We are here with Dillon, also known as Skeleton Drive. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Locked away, like a good citizen should be.
I'm outside right now. I'm not.
No, we could see you.
Are you wearing a mask?
No.
Come back.
Dude, you would have so much better lighting though if you're outside. There, barely. Yes, perfect.
Tyler got me this mug.
I did. Was it for your birthday?
I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. I don't expect you to remember. Okay, so Dillon, you just released your EP Restland in March, and I have to say that even though 2020 is probably not the best year to release something, you got your show off in time.
I did. I'm so happy. That was the last show I played as of right now. It was like just in the nick of time, because I think like a week after that, the Rialto Theater shut down.
What day was that?
March. It was early March.
It was the 12th.
The exact day right
It was
now.
the 12th. I got you.
12th?
Yeah.
It was. Oh, they know.
I'm a creep, man.
Dude.
I'm a creep.
Yeah, he is a creep.
I go hard body karate on that. So that was the last time you were able to actually play out?
Yeah, I did do one live stream.
I was going to say, I saw your live
Facebook.
quarantine show.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. It actually worked out really well, like way better than I thought it would. And I think I might do one more.
You definitely should.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun. I might even do it after this is over, just because it was fun. It was a different experience.
It'll definitely. I don't know about how it works for you, but talking always kind of helped me warm my chops up. Like sometimes instead of like vocally warming up singing, sometimes just talking help. I don't know. Does that make sense? Does that?
No, that makes sense. If I get up in like the morning and I try to like sing before I've actually like talked at all, it doesn't end up coming out very well. If it's later in the day and I've been like talking all day, I'm actually like way more open and like easier to sing.
I think a lot of people are going to do more online streaming stuff after the quarantine just because it's kind of become part of the culture. So I think that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, there's been like some fests and stuff. I haven't been on any, but it'd be really cool.
How did you go about the live stream? Was it kind of like a spur of the moment thing, or did you like plan weeks out, or like what was your kind of process going about that?
It was pretty much spur of the moment. I think I planned it like a couple of days before. I'm like, okay, on Tuesday, I'm gonna do this. And I made like a Facebook event for it, but I just had it set like to location Facebook. Yeah, just set up my laptop a couple hours before and made sure like everything looked and sounded good. And
who made that tombstone?
It was me and my old roommate, my friend Larry. He was an art school major at Kent, and he had access to like the wood shop room. And I told him the idea of what I had. This was all the way back before I even played my first show, and he helped me like carve it out and get the size right, and then I painted it.
So it's an old prop.
It is. It's been around since 2018.
Oh wow.
Do you bring it to all your shows?
Yeah, every single show I've played, I put it next to me.
Nice.
You smack somebody in the
Except-
head with it.
I did do the Mountain Goat show with you, Tyler, or
Yes.
the Halloween show where I covered the Mountain Goat song. I didn't have it there.
That's okay. That's why I was asking. So I didn't remember, but I would have felt bad if I said I didn't remember and it was there. So
that was the one time, but that was obviously an exception. But yeah, every single time I have it set up, it's just like a staple now.
So how different is it? I know a lot of people have obviously probably recorded themselves doing a song, and they can keep doing takes until they get the perfect take and then upload that. But compared to doing a live show in front of an audience where you're getting feedback versus like Facebook live streaming where you know people are watching you and there's comments and stuff, but you're not getting any feedback, like what are kind of like the pros and cons that you notice there?
I think it's more pros than cons actually, almost, because you know, if you don't have to worry about hearing like the applause after a song or something. So like, you know, I'm super like self-judgmental. So if I'm playing a show, even if there's not that many people, you know, you strum that last chord and you're done. And then like, it's kind of like a little, just a tiny.
That like look up, oh, he's done. We should clap.
Yeah.
Now.
And like,
Yeah.
Even if they don't mean to be rude, I'm sure most people don't. Sometimes I'm like, oh, the applause for that one, did it sound a little quieter than the one before? Did they not like it as much? Yeah. So I think about that all the time. So when I was doing the live stream and I would finish, I was just like, well, I don't have to think about that then. It was really awkward. There was just silence.
So it's like the introvert's dream situation?
Kind of, yeah. I wouldn't really necessarily say I'm introverted, but I'm definitely self-critical.
Okay.
So, you know, every single time I play a show after I'm done, I overanalyze like everything that I like could have done better, like the tiny little mistakes I made. And then I feel like I ask people like, was it okay? And I feel like I'm fishing for compliments.
Whenever I used to play a show with North Route, I used to ask everybody at least 3 times if they liked it. And if the one time they didn't say yeah, I was just down for like a week, like in my bed.
Yeah, I get that, honestly. You know, people are just like, yeah, it was great. But I'm not sure if it was actually good or if they're just saying it because they know me.
You're like, it's great because you love me.
Yeah. But I would, you know, I'd rather people be honest. If I
Absolutely.
suck ass, I would like them to be like, yo, that was not good. Because I feel like it would just make me try harder, be better.
It's always good to have that one person in your corner that you know they'll keep it real with you. You know what I mean? But it does suck when they're like that. You know, it wasn't your best show.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few people where they're honest and like I think I do all right for the most part. So I don't get you know, if every show I played, my friends were like, yeah, you need to stop. Then I would get the message, but it hasn't happened too much, thankfully. Obviously, my mom, if she's at a show, you're great. It was so good.
How did the Rialto show go? The EP release show.
It was a lot of fun. It was probably one of my best shows, honestly. Like their sound. That was the first time I played there on their stage. I played there one other time like nobody came, so me and the other musicians that were there just kind of like sat in the bar area and played to each other. It was nice.
Sounds romantic.
Yeah, it was cute. And then this time was the first time I was on the stage with the sound guy and everything, and it was honestly so good. Like the sound was good. The sound guy rocked. They were really chill there at the theater. Yeah, I think like I don't remember exactly how many people ended up coming, but I did make about $100 from selling merch and from the bar and stuff. So
That's a win, especially in the DIY scene. That's a huge win.
Oh yeah, that's the most money I've ever made doing Skeleton Drive for sure. I want to say maybe there was about 25 people that came. I could give or take. I think more people would have come if the virus stuff actually wasn't getting so close to shutting everything down.
Yeah.
Because I had multiple people message me like before the show, and they were like, "Is this still happening?" I didn't even think because I thought maybe it wouldn't happen anymore. But it was still a success. It was a very great success.
No, the audio at the Rialto was actually very good.
It was good. It was a very good time, and I had two of my favorite people from the scene, Mystery Girl and Joseph Maxwell, open for me, and I absolutely loved them.
I don't know Joseph Maxwell, but we've played a couple of shows with Mystery Girl.
Yeah, Joseph Maxwell, he's from like Lakewood, so I don't see him a ton. Mystery Girl, Joe, she lives like right around where I live, like super close, so I've actually hung out with her a few times and stuff, so I know her. So yeah, if you're listening to this, go check out Joseph Maxwell and Mystery Girl, because they're phenomenal.
I feel like you and I can't speak on Joseph, but I feel like you and Mystery Girl, with like your acoustic singer-songwriter type music, I feel like you guys would make a really good pair to kind of like tour a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to, honestly. Her and I are pretty similar, like music style wise. She goes into the little more of like a folk punk kind of scene. I'm kind of in that, but not quite as hard. She's starting a band now. She's like doing a band called The Great Twitch that's like way more punky. So the Mystery Girl stuff is kind of like not as strong anymore.
Not as strong with the Force.
Yeah, exactly. So she's focusing on The Great Twitch, or at least she was until the coronavirus knocked everything out, like I say.
Have you thought about expanding Skeleton Drive, or do you consider it just a completely solo project, or is there any room for kind of growth and adding different band members in?
There's definitely room for growth. Don't have any I kind of have like a rough plan of how I've wanted Skeleton Drive to like pan out through its life, and I definitely at some point want to add at least a drummer, maybe a bassist. I think it would be really cool to go for a more indie rock sound than like the singer-songwriter.
So how do you pronounce it? Creepscular?
Oh, Crepuscular.
Crepuscular. Okay.
You were close. You were close.
Yeah.
Forgive me. But I think that has more of a sound that you're talking about right now, kind of like an indie rock song kind of feel to it.
Yeah, I played all the drums and did all the instrumentals.
Really?
And everything. Yeah, it was all me.
That's really impressive.
But that's kind of why I want to get some people to jump on board and maybe do live shows with me, because I think I could portray the songs a lot better if I had multiple instruments and like a band set up playing those songs. Because right now, every time I play a show, it's obviously just me and the guitar. So they end up being almost like acoustic versions that I'm just kind of like playing live. Even if there were just some drums, I think it would end up sounding like really cool. So there's 100% room for that in the future.
But that would be incorporated within the Skeleton Drive,
yeah, like it wouldn't just be like here are live members. I would want to add some people that I would collaborate with, because between Crepuscular and Rustland, my first two EPs, I think whatever my next like big release is, if I ever do like a full length albums, I would want other people to jump on board and kind of expand the sound, jump ideas off of people, so I'm not just recreating that same formula over and over again. I want to better myself, stretch the sound a little bit, if that makes any sense.
Yes, yeah. So let's get into you a little bit as a musician, and then we'll get back into the EP Rustland. So how long have you been playing music?
I started off percussionist. I joined band in middle school in 5th grade. Music has kind of always been a part of my family, really. My mom was in bands when she was my age and younger. My brother's a music teacher, and then like my grandpa was a musician, and so I kind of just grew up in a musical family. It was around me. So joined a band, and then I got a drum set, started drumming. I actually drummed for a band. First band I joined was, I think I was like 16. And then after that, I was in a band that I sang for. And then after that, I'm now doing my own thing. But I only really picked up guitar like maybe a little over 2 years ago. It's been like really short time.
And that's about the length of Skeleton Drive, correct? 2 years?
Yeah, a little bit. I created like the online persona and all that stuff like probably a little bit less than a year after picking up guitar, and I just kind of went for it. I wasn't really, I don't know, I was so worried to do it for so long, and then I was just like, you know what, screw it, like I don't care what people think, and then I just started strumming chords and singing along, and I think I've gotten a lot better, but I barely even call myself a guitarist at this point, honestly.
Okay, so there's a lot of poetic elements in your music. Like the one that stuck out to me last night was Broken Clock.
Yeah, that's from I'm Sorry, I Don't Feel Well.
Yeah, that was a very beautiful line.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You.
So how much of that comes from like your real life? How much is like made up? Do you write poetry outside of music, or do you write poetry and then compose music to it?
Let's see. I write a lot of poetry. Usually what ends up happening is I'll just kind of like think of things that are interesting throughout the day, or if something grabs my attention, like somebody says something, or I just think of like a sentence and it feels like artsy and like important and I like it a lot, like I'll jot it down, and then I'll end up kind of like maybe writing a poem or maybe like a loose form of lyrics like around it. And when I kind of have an idea to throw it in music with it and maybe try to incorporate it into a song, I just kind of pick up the guitar and start messing around until I get something I like. And then I kind of just like try to jumble in what I've written, tweaking it a little bit, singing melodies, and it kind of all just comes together at the same time, if that makes any sense.
It doesn't have to make sense. That's okay. That's your process, and that's how it happens, you know?
There's not really any specific order, but a lot of times, like, for instance, the line, like, the clock thing that you mentioned from I'm Sorry.
The clock thing.
The clock thing.
Broken clock.
That was something that just kind of came out of nowhere. I was at work, and there was a broken clock up in one of the rooms. I just thought about, like, oh, I know what time it broke. It broke at this time, and that's what it shows on the face. And I was just kind of thinking about it poetically and artistically, and that line ended up coming out of it, and I was like, ooh, that's really good. It was like, that's going to be a song now.
Always good when you know it's good.
Do you use your notes in your phone, or do you write stuff down?
Phone, for sure.
Yeah, it's so convenient.
There's something special about writing stuff down, but my handwriting is so shitty. I sometimes can't even read what I wrote. Like, it's so bad. And it's just a lot easier, like, if I'm out in public, to just grab the phone, jot something down in my notes.
Yeah.
It also looks like you're texting, like you're not a loser.
Yeah. I could, if I was in the park with, like, a pen and quill.
Yeah, exactly.
Some guy...
Like, he's probably writing his grocery list.
Loser. Look at this deep, edgy...
You're definitely going to get beat up, but with your phone, you might not.
Yeah. Like, that seems like a stand-up citizen, even though I'm not.
So how long does it take you to write a song, give or take?
There's really not. The longest probably took me to write a song was like maybe a couple weeks. Over the span of weeks, I just kind of like worked on it little by little. And then there's songs I've written in a day. So it just depends how I'm feeling. I can't force myself to write music, I've noticed, or try to write poems or lyrics. It has to just come about naturally. Because if I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a song right now, nothing good comes out. Anything good that I like that ends up being put in a song is something that just comes out of the spirit of the moment. I feel the, good stuff coming on in my brain. I don't know.
the spark of inspiration.
That's what
Yeah.
I was looking for. So it has to come from a place of inspiration. I can't just sit down and force myself to do it. So sometimes a whole song will end up unraveling in a day, and other times it's something I end up chipping away at for weeks.
Have you been able to find inspiration during the social distancing? Because I feel like, and I don't want to speak for you, but from what I've seen online and what I've heard some other people tell me is that it seems like the perfect time to start crafting songs because they're like, oh, you have all the time, write, do what you want. And it seems like there's so much material to digest and turn into music, but I know a lot of people are struggling to be creative because there's just so much other stressors happening right now.
I was going to say, I disagree. I'm freaking the fuck out.
But that's what I've been seeing. But it's like the people are. It's like what you say versus what's true, or like ideally, it seems like it would be the perfect time to get a lot of music written, but there's just I don't know. So I'll put it back in your court. How are you handling kind of like the situation in songwriting?
It's odd. I feel like it's inhibited it a little bit because, like I said, I get a lot of inspiration from interacting with people, honestly, and, you know, just going out about my day and stuff. So when I'm kind of pretty much only trapped in either my apartment or the occasional, I visit my girlfriend sometimes still, you know, I'm not working or dealing with the public or experiencing life like I want to and should, I'm probably getting less inspiration, I would say. And it's kind of odd and frustrating, to be honest.
So I have like a 2-in-1 question here. So Cardboard Ghost. So like I was listening to that and I was like, you know what's striking me weird? It kind of sounds a little bit like Mulan. Not in a bad
like what, I'm sorry?
Like Mulan, the movie.
Mulan.
1990.
Oh yeah.
Mulan. I mean, not in a bad way. I just like, is that Mulan? I don't think that was in your head.
No, I can't say it was, but I take that as a compliment.
Okay,
actually.
Good. The other thing I wanted to say was, gin kind of seems to be a little bit of a theme.
Yeah, thanks for noticing that.
So, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like, why gin? That's a strange British beverage.
I like gin a lot. It's my favorite liquor. It's my favorite alcoholic beverage. That's pretty much.
Is that just the only significance? Okay, I just wondered if there was more, like it was like a family drink. I don't know.
No, actually, not really. A lot of people in my family like gin. I don't know. It's like weird symbolisms and stuff that might seem significant in the music I write really aren't. I just kind of write things that I think are interesting to me personally. Maybe that's selfish. I don't know. But yeah, for instance, like the whole gin thing. I just like gin, and I think it's a piney, delicious drink, and I'm not like an alcoholic or anything. I'm not like chugging gin every night. I don't want people to think
as
that.
you holding a bottle of gin.
Yeah, right now, I'm just. Hammered.
He told us it was water, but that's fine.
Yeah, it could be. You don't know, man. If I was down in gin like this, that would be unsettling.
I don't think you'd be able to do a show after this, unless maybe you have extremely strong vocal cords. But
no.
I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine chugging gin and then doing a live stream?
Yeah.
He's doing Tom Waits cover set.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're coming as bad.
Do you do the screams in your music, or is it somebody else?
No, it's me. It's all me.
Those are really good.
Thank you. I don't think they're really good,
I like
but
them.
I appreciate those. I just like screaming in music, even if it, even it seems almost out of place because my music's a little softer, I think.
But it's distant, though. You put it, it's like way in the background.
I do.
I
So
like
like
that.
me and I'll throw James, my friend James, he helps me record everything. He has like an audio tech degree. He has all the equipment, and we kind of collaborate together on the recording process. So every time I scream in one of the songs, I'm like reverb all the way up, put it all the way back. Like I want it to sound like someone's like way in the distance doing it. Because at first, when I do like the screams up front, it's just like out of nowhere.
Well, then it justifies.
So jarring.
It justifies then the scream because it's so far away.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, as far as gin or any kind of symbolism, I can't really explain it. It's just kind of, I just think words are interesting. I think the word gin is interesting. It's a part of my life because it's my favorite drink. I don't know. It's not super deep, really. I don't think it has to.
Did you ever hear the thing about cellar door is the most beautiful word in the English language?
Yeah, I love that. That's such an interesting, that is so interesting to me.
Well, to someone's opinion, it is. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Do you have a suggestion that could dethrone it, Charlie?
Orange hinge.
Orange.
Hinge.
I don't know. I got nothing, but
orange hinge. Do those rhyme?
Door hinge, right? That's
There's a Drake and Josh episode that suggests that they rhyme. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because Drake's like writing a song. He's like, "What rhymes with orange?" And someone says hinge or something, and he's like, "Door hinge."
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a shitty cop out when I was a kid.
I think my favorite part of that entire show is when Josh signs for the package and tells the guy to have a nice day, and the guy's like, "Don't tell me what to do."
Don't tell me what to do.
I love that so much. Well, Charlie, I was gonna try and lean more on like him as a background, his musician, but I can feel you wanting to talk about the music. So why don't we get into the EP?
I was listening to it late last night, and I was like really feeling it. So maybe that's why.
So I know when the first time I saw this on Facebook, I immediately, and you might remember this, I immediately had a comment on the artwork. I don't remember what I said, but if I'm paraphrasing, it's probably like, "This is awesome," or "This is really sweet."
For Wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, did you take that picture?
I did not take that picture. But I'm in the picture, actually. It's kind of hard to see.
Are you the ghost thing?
Yes, that's
behind
me.
EST, like running like the Flash, a white...
Yes, that's me, actually. So, little backstory first. So, Crepuscular, I did take that picture. That's the profile picture, and I edited it, added the text over it and everything. I'm kind of savvy with Photoshop. I do all of my artwork, all of my designs. I designed my t-shirts I have now, and all the posters for my shows and stuff. I kind of wanted to go with a little bit of kind of like a sort of creepy, mysterious theme. I ended up taking that picture for Crepuscular, and it ended up being the album art, and it kind of just set the mood for all of Skeleton Drive, I think. So I knew before I had even finished writing Restland that I wanted the album artwork to look like that. So I got my friend Ian. He's a pretty good photographer, actually. Ian Hudson. He's in a band called Cold Swell. I don't know if either of you know who that is.
I know Swell Tides. I don't know Cold Swell.
Yeah, I do. Swell Tide's a good time too. But he and I, there's the Restland sign. That's a cemetery that's in Kent, and that's where the name comes from. I just, again, kind of going back to like we were talking about the significance of gin before. The whole Restland thing, I just passed it all the time because I live in Kent. And I just like those two words together. It sounds interesting. It makes you think, or makes me think anyway. So I knew the album artwork is going to be that sign. So we went out in the middle of the street in the middle of the night and took those pictures. And I just ran in front of the sign, and he had his, I don't know how cameras work super well, but his shutter all the way up. So I have like the blur, and I threw it into Photoshop.
Yeah, it looks like a spirit.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Thank you I'm glad that it came across well.
So, one, is that cemetery haunted? And two, do you have a ghost story?
No to both of those, actually.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I know. I'm sorry to demystify everything. Maybe the cemetery's haunted?
I know, that was a little bold of you just to, kind of claim that it's not, but, that's fine. It's fine.
Well, I don't... I think every cemetery could potentially be haunted.
Way
but
to
I don't
backpedal.
know any stories.
Yeah.
Whoa, hang on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, not to demystify it, but I don't know.
Do you believe in aliens?
Technically, you're
I could go off on the alien
artwork.
thing, honestly.
Did you hear our
Like,
alien episode?
No, I didn't, actually. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, we were both
I gotta listen
advocates
to
of
it
aliens.
The good thing is it'll be there waiting for you when you're ready. That's the beautiful thing about podcasts.
But yeah, I can't comment too much on the ghost thing. I kind of don't. I don't know. It could be, it could not. But I know that I do like Halloween-y aesthetic and spooky stuff. So
gotcha.
That's where a lot of that comes from.
I was gonna
aliens,
ask...
though.
Oh,
sorry.
Wait, aliens. Is that the hot ticket? Is that where we're?
I could talk about aliens.
I could talk
super
about
interesting
aliens.
to me.
Did you see the
talk about
the Pentagon just released those UFO videos?
Yeah,
did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard. That's wild. I mean, it could be anything.
No, it's an alien.
It's 100%, 100% positive.
Do you have any alien stories?
No.
God damn it!
Nothing weird has happened to me.
When coronavirus is over, go experience life, and then we'll bring you back on, and you can tell us some spooky stories.
I know, I'm not that interesting. It's. I wish. I'm kind of like those I want to believe posters. Everyone's got this story like, I saw a ghost, I saw an alien, and I'm sitting over here like, why can I not experience any of this stuff? Because that sounds sick as hell.
I was telling Tyler one time, I was like, me? Why not me?
I know. I would love to look up in the sky and see some crazy shit. That would be like, it would freak me out at first, but I just want that story to tell.
It would kind of shake your reality a little bit, but you know what? Maybe not as much, because I always thought if I witnessed something, it would shake my reality. But Charlie and I had some experiences, and I guess you kind of start doubting yourself the more time passes. I think,
yeah, but I think they're 100% aliens. I think they're out there. And I think they could be here, too.
Yeah, Tyler's got the scariest story I've ever heard in my life about a ghost. And
well, that's not a ghost. That's...
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is, man. But also, he's got that little alien story too.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Did you talk about it in the other podcast?
Yeah, man.
Very
Okay.
lightly.
It's all
I
in
won't
the best.
make you tell it again.
No
but-
spoilers. So, bringing it back to wrestling. So, this is more, in terms of kind of like the spooky quality, is that more symbolism for you then? In, like, I know you're going for the aesthetic, and you kind of said you already established that aesthetic with your previous EP. But, like, is it kind of like, when it comes to, like, the danger and the darkness, is that more symbolism for you than in your writing?
What do you mean?
When you were kind of talking about your persona, I guess, because there is like kind of like a dark quality to it. So what does that mean for you? And I didn't mean in like a surface level, like this dude's writing songs about ghosts.
Oh, okay, I see. It means I like to make people think, and I think adding that mysterious quality to the art and the music mystifies it a little bit, and it opens up for interpretation for anyone that's listening to it. So I think when you're entering this art and this music, and it's kind of this mysterious, spooky quality to it, makes people think a little bit more, makes people dive into the lyrics a little bit more, kind of dissect them and get their own meanings from it, if that makes any sense. Kind of rambling, sorry.
Does it ever bother you when you hear like a hit song and there's just zero depth?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think all art and music is valid. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it's not good necessarily. It's just not for me. I like stuff that's kind of shrouded in a little bit of vagueness. Opens up the door for so many possibilities of how you could perceive that art. Not just music, everything.
Do you like films that are ambiguous?
I do. I love
See,
films that are ambiguous.
Charlie, Horse Girl. He would love Horse Girl.
You probably would like.
I've been wanting to watch it. I saw it.
You
should,
will love how ambiguous.
Yeah, I love creepy stuff, dude. I don't know if it's creepy, but
You should.
It has definitely creepy. There are moments
like-
for sure.
You should watch it and
like-
then listen to the podcast about it.
okay, yeah.
That's two.
Cool.
You got two on deck now. So we kind of live in a very singles kind of day and age where it's like you hear the hit single, you download the hit single from iTunes. You know, you're not typically buying the album. But I have to say that it feels like your track listing for Restland, it seems like you put a lot of thought into it. So I want to ask you about that. Like, how much did you put into your track listing for Restland? Because it seems like the whole is kind of greater than the parts.
Yeah, it's 100% thought out, planned. For my first EP, Crepuscular, it's also kind of the way the tracks run together is important. But back then, I was kind of just writing. Crepuscular was me like learning how to write songs and stuff, honestly, with not really any future goal in mind. I just kind of like wrote a bunch of songs. Once I had 6 of them, I was like, okay, throw it on an album. Rustland, I wanted to plan out a lot more. So I don't want to call it a concept album because there's not really a narrative or a storyline, but my hope is that it comes off as feeling like a full unit. Everything kind of runs together and bounces off of each other instead of just having like a list of songs.
That was 100% the vibe that I was getting, and that's
Okay,
what I
thank
meant
you.
by the whole.
It's-
The whole felt larger than just the sum parts, and that's not to say that a song couldn't stand on its own. But this is like when somebody tells you, like an older person's like, you got to listen to the album beginning to end. Don't just listen to track 3. And like this feels like something listening. It'll carry more weight if you listen to it beginning to end. That's the vibe that I was getting from it for sure.
Thank you. And I really appreciate that because, hearing that people got the message, I guess, is validating and makes me feel super good. So thank you. Everything that inspires me musically and artistically, all my favorite albums are these albums that like are telling a story or the tracks run together and there's kind of a basic theme to the whole thing. That's my favorite stuff, and that's the kind of stuff I want to create. So when I was writing the songs for Restland, I knew what order they were going to be in. So like when I wrote From Someplace Else, I was like, this is the closing track. I know it's going to be.
It definitely is the closer, hands down.
Thank you.
Did you write all of them at a similar time frame?
Yeah, pretty much. I wrote, like, for my first EP, I wrote them all, put them on an album, and then after it was out, I started writing the songs for Restland. I didn't really write any songs for Restland before. It was pretty much in the same time frame. I just kind of threw them all together, knew what I was doing. Probably took me, I have no idea how long it took me. From the time that I released Crepuscular to the time Restland came out, I was working on the songs for it, so probably about a year. Yeah, I mean, it's all connected. I want it to all be connected. I kind of want, in a way, I view Crepuscular and Rusthand as one kind of unit. Together, they're kind of like one album, I feel. So I don't know if you know this, but Crepuscular means relating to twilight. So, like, you know, nocturnal animals, like
vampires.
At night. Crepuscular animals are like lightning bugs or a crepuscular beetle. And so the picture on the front is taken at that time. So I knew I wanted the next one to be nighttime based because it follows twilight.
And then the next one will be that gross period when you start hearing the birds chirp, and you know you've been up just a little
5
too late.
a.m. Yeah. No, I do actually. Not to spoil anything, but if everything goes according to plan, I want the next big release to be relating to maybe morning or late night. I want it to flow together and be a concept, I guess. Just interesting to me.
I want to ask you. So to me, Skeleton Drive, I think for me that means that we're all skeletons, kind of just driven by our bodies. I don't know if that's what you meant by that, but I was wondering what that means to you.
It kind of is, actually. It sort of has a double meaning, I think. So the name, it doesn't really come from any specific place. I kind of had a street name in mind. So as in, like, you know, Skeleton Drive.
Oh, okay.
So there's a street in Akron called Skeleton Road. And when I was a kid, I always thought it said skeleton. And I just thought it was funny. So that's kind of the inspiration for it. But it also was... It kind of had that spooky, mysterious, you know, Halloween-y quality to it, like Skeleton Drive when I thought of it. So I guess the other meaning of it is... one time, I didn't really realize it until after, but someone told me that it sounds like you're saying, you know, you're pushed forward by your skeleton, I guess. Like, skeleton is driving. That's the... you said it better than I did, actually, I think. So I guess we're driven by our bodies and, like, the skeleton inside or something. Something deep and mysterious and edgy like that.
Kind of has an existential feel for me. It's kind of like we're all driving, we're all moving, but at the end of the day, we are just skeletons.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's kind of what we're going to become.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it, too. And I was kind of thinking, what if Skeleton Drive was a real street or a real place or something, what kind of people would live on it? And that's kind of what I had in mind. And my first song I wrote, Freezing, I say, I wasn't meant to live a skeleton life because it's just not right. And that was kind of in relation to the name. I feel like I'm around these people who are just kind of like walking through life. They're not full, you know, emotional people. They're just skeletons. And maybe they would live on a street or something like that called Skeleton Drive. Genuinely, that's kind of where the idea came from.
So this kind of relates to what we were just saying. I mean, I wrote this down last night. I wrote a lot of thoughts down when I was listening to it last night. But really, I was like, this music reminds me of like just like an introspective kind of emo kid music. Does that vibe with you?
100%.
Okay.
1,000,000%. Everything I, you know, grew up when I started getting into high school and everything that inspired me musically and stuff was all like the edgy pop punk emo stuff.
My Chemical Romance.
There's a My Chemical Romance flag right behind me right now. And it's got like girls dressed up as like skeletons on it and stuff. Yeah, 100%. And my music taste has evolved a little bit, but I still like all that stuff. And most of the stuff I listen to and like still kind of has that edgy edge to it. Edgy edge.
The edgy edge. Nice.
And I can't escape that that's the kind of stuff that inspires me.
Just for my own sanity, when did you graduate high school?
2014.
Oh,
how old are you?
I don't want to talk about it.
That was 4 years after me. We're all in our 20s. Well, Charlie, you still 20 something?
So far.
We're all in our 20s here.
Are you in your 20s, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm 28. I just turned 28.
I thought you were younger. I swear to God.
It's my baby face.
I'm going to turn
30.
I'm going to turn 30 this year.
I just broke out of the 27 club. So I passed.
I feel like I'm an old man. I swear to God.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, not to be offensive since you're older.
Yeah, Charlie, no offense since you're crusty as shit, but
yeah,
that's what it is.
Well, it was nice for the interview. We're not going to be playing a perfect fit this week.
Yeah, you don't want to talk to your dusty ass, Charlie.
I think that age. I think once you turn 21, age doesn't matter after that. That's my take on age.
Although the brain doesn't develop
What's
until
that?
25, though, right? Isn't that what they say?
What'd you say?
The brain doesn't fully develop until 25, though, right? I feel like I was still
is that
dumb.
a
That's
thing?
some shit my mom said. I don't know if it's true though.
That's what I've heard. I've heard by 24, 25, your brain's fully developed. Because I think I was still a dumbass at 21. But I probably wasn't the most mature 21
You're still a
year old,
dumbass.
I think once you're 21 and you have the full rights to do pretty much anything, you're like an adult right now, and you're responsible for your actions. Maybe people would disagree with me.
The law says you're 18 when that happens.
Yeah, but you can't even drink yet.
That's true.
You
That's
still
true.
don't have.
But you
the
can
full
die for your
liberties,
country.
So that's why I draw at 21. That's when you get all your liberties and you get thrown into the real world. You graduated. Yada yada yada.
I was probably already like $30,000 in debt because of school at 21, so that was fun.
So sorry, I never went to school or college. So
Good, good for you.
can't
Yeah,
relate.
Good for
Yikes.
you.
Everyone that ever I tell that to, just like, God bless you.
Hey, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah,
What makes me happy is,
not being in debt.
I mean,
I literally am a
sorry,
skeleton
buddy.
drive.
sorry about that.
Nah.
Hopefully your student debt will be canceled one day. Godspeed.
Yeah, too bad,
Well,
Elizabeth
fuck.
Warren. But yeah, we won't get political on here. So I consider the gin and tonic double lime as like a intro. Like in my mind, I still think of it as like almost a 5-song EP with an intro. I don't know. I don't mean to be offensive to that.
Exactly how I feel too.
Okay.
I don't really consider it a song. It's kind of just part of Restland, the title track.
Would you ever play it live? Or if you did, would you ever play it by itself? Out of order.
I've played it live a few times, but if I ever do play it live, it goes right into the next song.
Okay.
Without pause. It can't be a standalone song.
Maybe like 30 years from now, it'll be a song that's so short that you never play it live, and then you'll be at a show and you'll just start playing it, and everybody will lose their minds, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, he never plays that song. This is crazy."
Yeah, I had the idea. There's a lot of bands I like that have like kind of that intro track, or they have like intermission tracks. I don't know if you guys like the Wonder Years. It's like one of my favorite bands of all time. But their album, No Closer to Heaven, they have a track like that, and it's not really its own standalone song. It's kind of just part of the first song. Like the
Yeah.
second.
Asking Alexandria has this beautiful track like that's like in between a couple songs, and like it's not even singing, it's just like talking, and I'm like almost in tears every time I hear it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It makes you cry?
What?
It makes you cry?
It's really pretty. Shut up.
Okay.
You crying asking Alexander?
That's so 30 of you.
Oh no.
So I brought that up because I was going to say the beginning of the EP, but I know it's not the first song, so I just want to get that out of the way. That was a preface. So in
Okay,
Restland,
gotcha.
when you're talking about the tree, which first of all, what tree was it? What kind of tree was
It's a
destroyed?
real tree.
Was it a pine?
It was not a pine tree. It was outside of my. I'm actually because you can see me.
I
The
can
people
see you.
listening to the podcast can't see me. I'm sitting by the window in my room where I can see it from.
It's still there?
Was it like one of those trees with like leaves? That's the extent of my tree knowledge. It's got leaves.
It's away now. There's no tree.
Oh.
They cut it down.
You get some nice natural light in here though now.
I know. I love it. I don't know. I'm bad with trees. It was probably an oak tree, if I had to say. It was pretty big.
Yeah.
You got turned into some tables and stuff.
When I first moved into this apartment, we were like the only one that had this massive tree right outside there. And it was really nice because when I would lay in bed, I could see like the leaves and stuff kind of swaying in the wind and stuff. And it was calming, and I liked nature a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd open up the window, feel the breeze, hear I'm like a sucker for all that stuff. That's why I talk about it a lot in the songs. Just natural, earthy goodness. It makes me feel like more like myself, more like connected to myself spiritually. But yeah, it was nice. And then it started cracking, and it was like totally going to fall on everyone's cars and fuck shit up. So me and my roommate at the time actually told the office multiple times, we're like, this tree is like gonna kill us one day.
Oh.
Like, you need to get it cut down.
If you want your rent to keep coming in, if you want us
Yeah.
to keep paying you,
You should have found out
we
when
can't
they
be
were
dead.
gonna tear it down, and you should have set it on fire.
the night before.
I don't
yeah.
advocate arson, but in this case, I guess I did.
Yeah, and then the next day, or not the next day, but a while later, they were cutting it down, and I was home, and I watched them cut it down. And it was bittersweet. It was very sad. I liked that tree a lot. So I was like, and then I wrote the poem that ended up turning into that
Then
song.
why'd you rat on it, man? I get it. I get it.
that tree's getting cut down. Like, what the fuck?
I thought we had a
trying to live
connection.
out here.
I did have a connection, but it needed to come down.
Oh God, that's cold, man.
But yeah, and it that is kind of symbolic. If you listen to I know you guys listen to the EP. The last song.
Yes. No, wait. Hold on. Can I get to it first?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This was another preface. Maybe this isn't.
Ooh.
I just preface after preface. I never get to my point.
You're gonna have to forgive me. I will ramble.
That's good for
apologize.
us because we've had interviews where we had to pull teeth. So I appreciate that you ramble. But
Okay.
and this didn't, like, when I was listening to each song, I didn't come to the conclusion yet that it felt like a whole. Like, this is a EP you have to listen to each song. But when I did, and I went and listened to it again, in Restland, you're talking about this tree getting cut down because it's dangerous and it doesn't belong. And then from someplace else, you have that line, and I'm paraphrasing, I apologize, where you're like, I don't want to become dangerous, or I don't want to be dangerous.
Yeah, you got it. It's
yes!
So in
Yes!
Restland, I say the tree was a danger to everyone and everything around it. And then at the end of the EP, I say, I don't want to be a danger to anyone or anything around me.
I'm so happy. I literally feel like I cracked a code. Like, I feel like
you did it, man. I swear to God.
I found the book that makes the bookcase move to the secret lair, and I forgot the wheel in the back other chapter.
All that's in
of
there is
Resident Evil.
spiders.
That is gross.
Yeah,
That's the Restland. Spiders behind a bookcase.
I'm really glad that you got it. That's the key. It kind of, you end the album where you started, and the whole message comes full circle.
I think that's probably a really large. I mean, they all have, there's tonality between all of them that mixes it together. But I think that message is one of the reasons that struck me, where it's like, yeah, this is a whole. This is a whole.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, because like I said, it's supposed to end up being like, I'm the tree.
Yeah.
Because not to get dark or anything, I deal with a lot of anxiety and stuff, and I always am worried about my place, and I'm worried about myself, my well-being, and everything. And I just am like, I don't want this. I don't want to be like this. So somewhere along the line, when I was writing the EP, I ended up making that connection, bringing that message full circle, and kind of having like a symbolism there.
Now your neighbor's going to call on you and have you slaughtered. Full circle.
This kid's broken.
Yeah, can we cut him down? And then Charlie's
Put
like,
him in the
burn him. Burn him. I can't remember if I said this while we were recording or if it was before, so I'm going to say it again. So when I heard -1, I'm like, this is my favorite. And then I listened to Light Pollution. I was like, no, this is my favorite. And then the last track from Someplace Else almost was my favorite. But I'm also, I understand what you're talking about when it comes to nature. And a lot of people close to me know that, like, if it's dark outside, I'll like make a cool, like, I'll say like, oh, look, we can see a couple stars, or, oh, I wish we could see more stars. Like, I grew up way up northeast Ohio, Ashtabula, a little bit more rural. So
yeah,
I definitely didn't take
You don't
advantage of
just
it.
say, look, there's stars. You stop the conversation and say, hey, look up, there's stars.
I do.
Dead
I do that.
stop. Look up.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things about ghost hunting in the cemeteries. But so my parents' house in Ashtabula, it's not like, you can't see the, the Milky Way, but you can see a sky full of stars. And then moving out to Akron and then the Falls, and I can see some here in North Canton. But man, I've like wanted to like go. Do you have any places, and this is kind of an odd question, but I know there's like conservatories and there's certain places people can go to stargaze. Do you know of any places around the area where it's like low light pollution?
Not really. I mean, Kent isn't too bad. You can definitely see the stars and some of the space. I grew up in a little like bumfuck town called Atwater. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. And that was extremely rural. Yeah, I could see the stars all the time there. It was awesome. Sometimes I would sit outside and stare. You don't get that a lot in the city. So that's kind of the inspiration for that song came from.
Yeah, it really resonated with me, and I think that's I think that's why it's probably my favorite. It's just because the message hits me, and the chorus just perfectly encapsulates it too.
Thanks. The kind of the inspiration that kind of ties in with the whole light pollution thing is that, like I said, I grew up in this bumfuck nowhere rural town where everyone I went to school with, most of them were hick, racist, shitty, sexist people. But living in the country is like kind of a beautiful thing. Like you see the stars and the landscape's beautiful and stuff. And then you move to the city, you don't really get that, but people are a lot more accepting and I guess like progressive. So I guess I was just thinking like it sucks that that beautiful place like the country is kind of ends up just being a waste because you get so many bigots and stuff that people live in there.
Yeah.
And it's that's why I say in the song like, what a waste.
Were you nervous to? I mean, I don't know your background in singing, but were you nervous to go into kind of like the falsetto there in the first chorus?
Yeah, I had never done it on recording before. Like if I'm sitting at home, I'll do it all the time, and I'm like, that sounds really nice. I should do that with a song. So that was the first time I did it with recording a song, and I was super nervous about it. Actually, I recorded it a couple different ways. The first way I recorded it, I did the song like normal, but I belted out like I normally do. And then me and James, I'm like, I'm going to try it again, but I'm going to do it this way for something different. And I loved the way it ended up turning out. It was a nice, soft song, and that like came across a lot better, and we ended up using that one.
All right, guys, that is our interview with Skeleton Drive. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Oh, James.
I was not thanking Charlie, I promise.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you started
Thank you, Dillon.
talking.
I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you guys letting me ramble and having me on the show. You both are beautiful people, and I really appreciate it.
No.
I think Charlie's hearing's just going because he's crusty.
Fuck you, Tyler.
All right, Dillon, give us the plugs, man. Where can people find Skeleton Drive? Where can people find Restland?
Skeletondrive.bandcamp.com. Crepuscular and Restland are both on there. Definitely check out the new EP. I'm on Spotify, Skeleton Drive. My Instagram handle is @SkeletonDrive. Facebook is /Skeleton Drive. Pretty much anything is just Skeleton Drive. I'm the only one that has the name. So if you Google it or anything, it should come up. And the best way to get a hold of my music is come out to a show when this is all over.
Yeah. Whenever that might be.
Yeah.
Whenever that might be.
I hope you, we know more now is less than the guy that was in the corner at that one show.
When I was Dave Matthews.
Yes.
That was a good time.
You're not going to let me live it down.
No. That's okay, though.
We didn't talk about that show the entire interview.
We didn't?
But that.
Yeah, I thought we did for a second.
I thought that was before we recorded.
It was before we started.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to keep that in. Don't worry about it.
Okay. There was a point in time in October where we were all in the same room and we all played some music.
Yeah.
But that's not
as different people.
Yes.
Yes, as that. Yeah, actually, yeah, we were playing Halloween. So, that is our interview with Skeleton Drive. Thank you guys for listening. Please go check out Skeleton Drive's music. This is a hard time for everybody, and we understand asking financially for things. Everybody's dealing with things, but artists. A lot of people are turning to artists for entertainment, for escapism right now, and the best way to help artists out is by giving them a little bit of money. So if you do go to Bandcamp and check out Skeleton Drive, throwing some money his way really helps out a lot. And put that EP on repeat and forget that we're all quarantining. So thank you guys so much for listening. Charlie, do you have to say anything before I...
Yes, I am Tyler. Fuck.
You're Tyler?
I am Tyler.
He's old, guys. He gets... You got that Alzheimer's.
I am Charlie, and this is Tyler. And thank you, Dillon, for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah, everyone go make art. Don't be afraid.
That's right. As always, this is The Segue.
The best thing to happen to you on a Thursday.
I said we could have waited.
I didn't. It's okay. Cool.
No, special guest appearance by Steph.
This is my wife.
Put the mic up to her. Let her say hi.
Hi.
Give me 1 second. Oh.
Well, I guess she can't hear
No,
me.
she can. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay. All right, bye, honey.
That's a good volume.
Bye, honey. I love you. Don't
Cut that
don't
shit.
you don't trip. Don't sweat. I don't know what the kids say now.
Oh my god, I can't talk right now. Woo!